Stories to Tell in the Dark really that scary? Okay, I think I'm getting out of here. Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about the brand new film, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This was a children's book series by Alvin Schwartz that I grew up with and that I know literally haunted an entire generation. Like, the horrifying illustrations by Stephen Gammell from the books are still burned into my nightmares. There are 3 anthology books of scary short stories, and now they've been turned into a feature film directed by André Ovredal and produced by Guillermo del Toro. The film adaptation is set in the 60s and follows a group of kids that find a cursed book in a haunted house. Similar to Tom Riddle's book in the Harry Potter series, it writes horrifying stories by itself that come true and hurt people, and together the friends must find a way to stop it. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So for me, this film felt like it fell in the space between Goosebumps and It. You know, it was kind of like a little bit of an elevated Goosebumps, a little bit scarier, a little bit creepier. You know, it's kind of a classic story of like kids finding a cursed book in a haunted house, but I liked how each story that came up in the book affected each character differently, sort of like a Final Destination in a way. They brought to life some of the creepiest characters from the books and even added some twists. We got to see Harold the Scarecrow, the pale lady from the dream with white skin and long black stringy hair, the corpse looking for its severed toe from the big toe. There was a twist on Mitai Dodi Walker with the creepy contortioning jangly man, and even the red spot where a pimple turns out to really be a spider bite that explodes to reveal hundreds of spiders. Ugh, totally gross and terrifying. And I think what's really cool is that a lot of these are more like practical effects, you know, prosthetics and makeup, and they really do make it look creepy. The atmosphere is really like spooky, and even though they do rely a lot on jump scares, I do think that there were also some like truly icky moments that, you know, really felt like they came out of these terrifying books. I would say there were definitely some moments that even as an adult had me kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit, kind of like squirmy, like, oh, what is this? Like those spiders, so gross. I was like, no, my cheeks. And while I would say that overall I did have fun and enjoy this film, I definitely have some criticisms of it. I felt like the characters weren't fully explored, and I don't think you fall in love with this little group of misfit friends like you do with others in the same genre like Stranger Things or It. And while it was fun to see some of the real names from the stories like Tommy and Ruthie, I also feel like you just don't care about those characters at all. And while I think a lot of that had to do with the lack of depth in the script, I also think that for some characters I felt like they were miscast, or as actors they just didn't have a very strong presence on screen. Some of the story felt a bit piecemeal together, like they could have gone much deeper into certain stories, or like some things just came out of nowhere when they really needed a little bit more of a solid setup. And I feel like the story of Sarah Bellows herself could have been a lot more fleshed out. To me it felt a little bit more like an afterthought just in order to string all of these stories together. I would have loved to see them take an actual story from the book and kind of make that the hero piece that ties all of these stories together. Like maybe if Sarah Bellows was that pale woman from the dream or something like that. I think there were also a couple of really slow, kind of dumb moments that you really want to be screaming at the screen like, come on people, like let's do something, let's move. One in particular that stood out to me was when the Mitai Dodi Walker jangly man came out and the cop that was there is finally realizing like these kids are telling the truth about these scary stories, and he just stands there staring at this corpse reconnecting itself, and it's like, dude, why are you just standing there for like 5 minutes? Go let these kids out of this jail cell so you can all get away and escape. And then, you know, this movie is set in the 60s and they had a lot of like political, like Nixon things going on, kind of like off to the side. I guess to really like show the atmosphere of like what was going on with like the Vietnam War and stuff. But at times it felt like so much that I thought that this was gonna end up being like some kind of government conspiracy and like Nixon was gonna be one of the creatures or something. They could have done a little bit less there and actually fleshed out the story itself more. And then when it came to the end of this film, I was really expecting them maybe to jump to present day because, you know, at the very beginning of this film it says they're set in 1968, or at least like resolve a bunch of things and then give you a twist that, oh, something else is gonna come up next. But really it feels like they skipped having a real resolution in favor of pushing for a sequel. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. Honestly, I think that they could have done it in a way that hinted at something, but that also if they don't get one, it still would have worked. worked, and instead now it's just like very open-ended. Overall, I think Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was fun. It had like some jump scares to really creep you out. I think when we got to see the creatures from the books, that was really cool, but I think that they could have done a lot more in just building this story and this world that we are following, just so that we love these characters more and actually care about them. If you like this video, you can check out more right over here, and make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Alright, see ya!